The recipes brewed on this show are provided by HomebrewSupply.com. Fresh ingredients, best prices, and same-day shipping. Make your brew day better with HomebrewSupply.com.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Recipe Recap. This is a new show where we're going over the recipes that we brew and that are available at HomebrewSupply.com, and then we compare them to a popular commercial beer of the same style, or like in this case, if it's a clone beer, we try to compare it to what we were trying to accomplish. So today is another recipe that my father and I brewed, and it was from HomebrewSupply.com's Founder Breakfast Stout clone. It was a very eventful brew day, man, and it's a very big beer. And
that's a hardcore beer to brew.
I'm very anxious for y'all. Y'all have had it out of a keg. Like I said last week, I'm anxious for y'all to try it for a few reasons. One, it's been a while. I feel like the last time y'all have had it, you may have been intoxicated already. Beer always tastes better.
But remember, I had to drive home that night.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But it is. We haven't had it side by side.
Yeah.
And so it is possible.
I'm excited.
That one beer. It's not mutually exclusive that they're both good beers, but that I may not have hit the mark on it being like Founders. So let's go ahead. Let's pour them both.
You know, the other thing I'm excited about is that I went to the Eagles concert. That's the reason I've been wearing this shirt for a week now.
Yeah, he hasn't taken it off. Yeah. Same with my cool jacket.
I don't have an excuse. So.
Yeah. All right, so I'm pouring mine first. The good thing about this, so like last week and other episodes, hitting the color on this was really easy, guys.
Look at that head, though. That's pretty, isn't it?
Hitting the color was good. Yeah, was that from mine? Hey, so the carbonation was better this bottling round than it was on the alt beer.
The other one had carbonation. I think that, and this kind of beer kind of lends itself to not being super carbonated. You don't want it overly carbonated.
And I overpoured mine. But look at that, Josh. I mean, that is.
So which is which on yours?
This is Josh's.
Oh, damn.
And that's the Founders.
So yeah, hold it up. If you don't mind holding up the color on your camera over there, James.
That's Josh.
And right here, that's Founders, and that's me. I would say holding them up together. The color seems The color seems spot on, but again, I think that's one of the easier things to hit, which I'm not complaining for the recipe.
But look at the foam, though. Look at the head. They're almost the same color.
Well, mine's
on y'all.
This one's darker.
Yeah, Josh is a little bit darker, but still, man, it.
All right, drink mine. I'm going to try mine first.
I love his.
I could just smell it all night.
Okay, it still tastes wonderful.
Wow, that's so good.
I don't care what y'all say about it after this point.
Wow.
I still love it.
I still say that's my best homebrewed stout taste in the last 2 years.
I love this.
I love the when I now do the nasty, sorry for audio only listeners, sound.
I like
that coffee
better.
taste. Holy moly, so good.
I'm not lying.
All right, let me try. I gotta get the Founders Breakfast Stout
so much better.
For new listeners and new viewers, there was a period of 2 years where I would not shut up about Founders. And
I can attest to that.
Todd made me stop talking about it.
I banned him from talking about
it.
Hey guys, worse than Kolsch.
Yeah, worse than Kolsch.
It was worse.
He brewed this beer so we would have an excuse for him to talk about it again.
It's like Founders Breakfast Stout is still my all-time favorite go-to. I think it's, it might be year-round now. It was seasonal forever. Correct me if I'm wrong. They may have taken it to being an annual beer now, but I always liked the seasonal component of it. I'm only going to get it between like October and February. It's not that readily available. The the romance part of it, like I would romanticize it's that time of the year for Founders. Now that I know we can brew it, I can have it all year long, assuming it's not a year-long release. But
it's the end is what I like better on yours versus the Founders.
Yeah, I would say the Founders, to me, has more of a creamy flavor, maybe from the lactose.
Was
There was lactose in that kit too, wasn't
No, I don't. There's not lactose in
Oh, I
it.
thought there was.
No, in the recipe kit?
Well, maybe there's no lactose in here, but
In the recipe did not call for lactose.
Okay.
And we didn't use it. But we did follow, so we'll go down the recipe build. It's a lot, James.
And then this one to me is.
No, that's a huge grain bill, guys, by the way.
And it is not a cheap recipe to brew. Even when you have the Todd Burns Friends and Family discount, it is not a cheap beer to brew.
So yours is more of a nutty flavor. Do you taste that?
Yep.
Nutty coffee flavor.
I can give you the secret to... The coffee, yes.
No, this one's creamier.
Yeah, it is. The coffee, I am surprised how much more forward our coffee is, comparatively speaking, for better or for worse.
I think that also may lend to whether you were talking about it's creamier or smoother.
Yeah.
It could be the coffee, but whatever it is, it works.
You are getting some bitter from the coffee.
In the show notes, you can this whole recipe instruction, which has the whole grain bill in it, you can get that at homebrewhappyhour.com, or if you're watching on YouTube, in the description below, or just go to homebrewsupply.com.
Yeah.
Every recipe has the bill. So going down it calls for pale ale malt, flaked oats, chocolate malt, roasted barley, carafa type 3, caramel, 120 levet body, then the baker's chocolate at flame out, coarse ground coffee during or which part does the...
Well, there's a lot of notes in here about how you have to do it.
So you can go online and you can pull this up and look at the brewmaster notes.
Homebrewsupply.com. This is the homebrew supply recipe.
Yeah, I was going to say, because there was a lot of additions. The coarse ground coffee part, and then we also, during secondary, added cold brew coffee.
Yeah.
Both times we used Todd's favorite. It was a very, the blend of Folgers. Can you, look, I know that bothers you. But,
I knew there was something I didn't like about this beer.
You're such a snob. This is Folgers coffee. I should stop saying their name because they don't pay us, but...
It works.
It worked. And that's why I like bringing it up. My dad is a Folgers guy just because it's cheap. I think it's tradition. It's just been around forever. Folgers has been around since before we were all born. And
so can you say which Folgers?
No, it was the standard.
The standard one, the one that sucks.
The one that sucks, it says, at your grocery store, it's under coffee you shouldn't buy.
Well, I keep Folgers, but I keep the black silk.
No, his is a regular red can.
Yeah, mine's red
plain
can, but it's black silk, but it's a dark
his is
roast,
a medium roast.
but it's not bitter.
Yeah.
So, but I think the bitterness on the coffee complements the hops in the stout.
It does. I agree.
You can definitely taste it there, but it works.
Yeah. So like with our alt beer, where we had some efficiency issues. This one, on the same system, we use a cooler brew system, which is also at homebrewsupply.com. We mashed at 155 for 60 minutes. It was at 100, almost 150 after the hour.
That's
when
what
we
I
took
would
the temperature.
see.
So there's your body.
Exactly.
The alpha,
Did you do a full 10 gallons?
We did. And like we discussed last week, we discussed last week, that was a 5-gallon recipe on a 10-gallon system.
Last week when I was wearing this shirt?
Yeah, last episode, last week. It's showbiz. When we discussed it 5 minutes ago and 3 beers ago, we had said how part of the issue could have been, you had all that space. It could have been a colder day.
Yeah.
Filling up that space,
everything.
Temperatures, everything.
Yeah, if you're going to brew on a 10-gallon cooler system, brew 10 gallons, right?
And our original gravity was right on the button, 1079.
Nice.
The recipe calls for 1079. We literally hit, I posted a photo on my personal Instagram just because I was we never hit our numbers exactly. Or my dad and I have yet to hit, we're always in the range.
Yeah, but don't worry about it. You can always boil the gravity.
Right.
Or you can deal with it. If you're just a couple points off and you want volume, go for the volume. That's what I do.
Yeah, we definitely do. Because we're usually high.
Yeah.
Because our
he means
system,
his gravity.
High gravity. You could clip a segment of that out.
That's what usually we're high.
So our system typically gives us a little higher because it's very, very efficient. But I found on these as well, on the cooler brews, the couple of times that I've used one, it's been a little high as well.
Yeah.
Which is great because, when you brew 10 gallons, you really don't get to put 10 gallons into 2 5-gallon kegs because
Right.
you have a bunch of stuff in the bottom and you got to get through that. So we tend to, like if we're going to brew 15 gallons, we try to finish up a 17.
Yeah.
And then that way we can fill 3 kegs. So
Absolutely.
that's a great thing about it. If you're a little bit.
And our final gravity after, it is not a quick turnaround beer. And I don't think you want it to be a quick turnaround beer.
No.
It needs time to work itself out. The additions you do, the cold brew
And then
addition.
it ages well, too.
It ages well. But we did end right at the top end. So the target final gravity calls for 1022 to 1024.
Yeah.
We ended at 1024. So doing the math, we ended at
Yeah, but
7.2.
I
We
was
nailed
gonna
it.
say,
yeah.
that's still huge alcohol.
It is huge.
It tastes wonderful.
What
You did good.
I love about this recipe too, which I'm assuming had to be Lorena's, right? As most homebrew supply recipes,
I really don't know.
it is a heavy and a good bodied beer, and it is not boozy. I love that about it. I was worried because what I love about Founders is it is so full, and I don't know if that makes sense by calling it full,
Yeah.
but it doesn't boozy. Like there are some beers that are
You know, when you take a drink, you can smell the alcohol through your nose.
Exactly.
After you swallow.
And Founders is
Yeah,
not that
I
way.
hate that.
I hate that too because I enjoy the after effects of a big beer, but I don't like this Founders and what my dad and I ended up brewing highlights the best parts of its beer, the coffee
Yes.
notes, the flavor.
Yeah.
Like you're not
Yeah.
you're not like, oh yeah, that is also alcohol.
I can't believe you brewed
We followed a
such
recipe.
a wonderful Founders breakfast stout. I need a hug. You did good. You did really good.
Hey, how about that?
Yeah, it is a good.
No, I want to hug.
It is a good testament to following instructions,
Yeah.
hitting your temperatures, hitting your numbers, and also. This was one of the last brew days we've done. I've learned since talking to you guys on last episode and this one how important it is to do gravity readings
Yeah.
at
Gotta
certain
know
times.
where you're mashing at.
Yeah.
Know what you're mashing at before boil. Do a gravity reading, or post boil. Do a gravity reading. Pre cool down. At that point,
And
do-
another thing,
I'm sorry, you don't actually want to brew with me and James because we are both compulsive about gravity readings, and
Yeah.
we might do a few too many while we're brewing.
oh no, that's fine when you got temperature control. But
Yeah, right.
what I was going to say is before on the last video we were talking about the alt beer. He did a 5-gallon batch and
Yes.
he had a hard time hitting the temperature. One thing that I used to do is I used to fill my cooler up with the temperature of water that I wanted and let it rest for a little while. Clear that out and then do the mashing, and that might
Yeah.
help
Oh, that's
you
real smart.
stabilize
Yeah,
the
so
temperature.
it warms up the
That's real smart. You're right, because we were
Inside
going
the vessel.
into is it ambient temperature at best?
It's got to be.
Okay.
You know, if it holds temperature on the inside, it'll hold temperature on the outside.
Gotcha.
So if it's cold in a cold environment and then you fill it with heat, it's got to.
That's a real good idea. And one thing I've been enjoying about doing the cooler brew is how consistent it is as a system. So once we dial in the system on any given recipe, we should be able to dial in those recipes and make more consistent beer of that recipe. Like I feel like, because my dad, again, diligent note taker, I feel like we could replicate this, getting the recipe again based off of the notes we took and understanding our system.
Sure, yeah.
So whether you're brewing the all grain or extract, well, I guess this really pertains more to all grain. Understanding your system goes a long way.
Sure.
And if you're not doing a super temperature control type system, it's not hard to understand your system. It might take just, a couple brew days.
Yeah.
Wow, I wonder what that would be like with a good coffee.
Yeah,
What if it was worse?
what if Founders uses Kona? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they use Kona. Was so funny. We did the coffee, the coarse ground with Folgers, and then when it comes time to secondary, my dad makes cold brew out of Folgers. We do that, we put it in, I go in his pantry, he has Kona coffee! He has Kona coffee that I guess my brother must have brought him because when they went on their honeymoon from Hawaii.
Tell him that's what's in the.
I said something along the lines like, Dad, why did you use that? He's like, I use Folgers every day. Like,
Josh's father, he's
Gotta go with what you
not
like.
frugal, he's cheap.
yeah, he's not frugal, he's cheap. But anyway, so wrapping it up.
Make sure you play that for him, right?
Oh, that's going to be the
And
Instagram
a great
clip.
guy, by the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna chop up the Instagram clip to say Josh's father, we're always high, or whatever, like all the things. Okay, wrapping it up, I would say, regardless of which one you prefer, if someone did a blind taste test, they'd know that's a breakfast stout. They would understand it's the Imperial Coffee Stout, what it was going for. I think the recipe nails it. I think if you follow the instructions like my pop and I did, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
And let us know if you use something better than Folgers. And again, feel free to ship us some. We'd be happy to tell you if it came out better. Next time, Todd, I'll brew it. You can supply the coffee. You pick the coffee.
I'll pick it.
We'll brew it, and we can compare based off our memory. Because there's none of this left. We floated the keg. That was the last of. This is the last of this right now.
Wow.
You went through your keg.
I didn't get a keg.
Oh, because I only did 10 gallons. Yeah. It was a hit at the Christmas party, thankfully.
Oh, God.
That's all I drank.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And
I had beer that I brewed, that Pilsner.
You're just
This
too
is
nice.
all I
Quit buttering
wanted.
me up, man. You're making me feel good. Okay, so anyways, that does it for this episode. In the show notes, once again, you can get this recipe, or you can buy it off of homebrewsupply.com. I don't know what we're going to do next. Do you have a My First Pale Ale that's fermenting? You have a brown ale that's fermenting?
Yeah.
We have a lot of options. You have a...
We got the Fest
Oh,
beer.
We got
so
the
we
Fest
have an
beer.
interesting one coming up. We have My First Pale Ale, which is not actually My First Pale Ale, but that's the name of the recipe on Homebrew Supply. And so we brewed that all grain, or I brewed it all grain.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do an extract version of it, and that's what we're going to use to do our new video on.
Oh, that's
how to do
right.
Extract.
Yep.
And we're going to compare three beers. We're going to have 3 beers out here. We're going to have all grain, extract, and a commercial
Pale ale, yeah.
Pale ale.
Which I was thinking, and we don't have to decide it now. The Sierra Nevada Pale is like most people's entry
That's a
into
great
pale.
beer.
It's a staple. Maybe we should hold it up to that, because I think talking to Joe, that seems like what that My First was
I can
modeled
buy
after.
that. I mean, it tastes a lot like it.
Okay.
It does, and
Yeah.
you already have it on tap. I've already been enjoying the all grain version
Yep,
of it.
yep.
So yeah, and we also do have more videos coming down with a brew day instructional on extract beer.
Yep.
We got a lot of stuff coming down. So you can go to homebrewhappyhour.com and check out all our videos, or if you're on YouTube, just subscribe to us here. But anyways, we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks. See ya.